Have you heard about Marshburn Landing? One of the newer communities in Wendell is a strong option for buyers that are in that mid three to mid $400,000 price range and want some newer construction without that heavy master planned community density. But it's going to depend on your commute needs and lots of expectations and what the negotiation leverage is in today's market. So let's break that down a little clearer. Marshburn Landing is just outside of downtown Wendell, kind of in between Zebulon and Knightdale. Great location. It offers primarily single family homes. These are going to be new construction, detached, in that mid tier price range, threes to fours, with less of that amenity village feel. So there's not like huge pools and parks and things like that, as you would compare to like a Wendell Falls. And it's going to have more of that traditional subdivision layout. As of the early part of this year, homes in that segment of Wendell are typically landing roughly in the 300 to mid 400 range. Depending on the square footage, upgrades, lot size, those things can come into play and push that price up a little bit. Typical features in that price range are going to be 3 to 4 bedrooms, 18 to 2,500 square feet. Most of them are going to have 2-car garages, smaller to moderate lot sizes, and you're going to have some standard builder grade finishes unless you choose for upgrades depending on the builder you're with and what they offer. So if you want some new construction options and you don't need those heavy amenities, you prefer something a little quieter and a smaller community than something like a Wendell Falls, and you're price sensitive but want newer systems, then Marshburn Landing may be a good fit. But if you want walkability to retail and you want those resort style pools and clubhouses, or you need larger wooded lots, this may not be the neighborhood for you. So let's talk a little bit about the commute. As I mentioned earlier, it's kind of stuck in that little pocket between Wendell, Knightdale, Zebulon. It's about 10 to 15 minutes from central Wendell, depending on the traffic, and about 20 to 30 minutes to downtown Raleigh. And again, depends on the time of day. Access to the highways is amazing. You're right there in between two different access points, depending on which direction you're going to be going in. So morning commutes and afternoon commutes can be a little tight. You're going to want to make sure that if you are required to be somewhere at 8 a.m., that you're going to test your drive time and check a different route, just to see, kind of what options you have there. Some mistakes that buyers make when picking this community would be assuming that new means zero maintenance. New homes still have punch lists. They have a warranty process, and there are some occasional defects that need to be dealt with. So new is never perfect. You also want to make sure you're not ignoring resale competition. We have a lot of newer construction neighborhoods in the area, and something that's nearly new might be a better option than something that is brand new. You also want to make sure if you do choose new construction that you're not over upgrading beyond what the neighborhood can account for, because that could create an appraisal issue, and that's where a good buyer's agent like me is going to come in and help. We know what the appraisers are going to be looking at and what values they're going to give to certain things. So price-wise, builders typically are not very big on negotiating on price. However, they will have some incentives that they're offering. They might do some interest rate buy downs. Depending on inventory levels, they might have special pricing on certain properties that are complete and ready to go and they need to offload those. But instead of focusing just on price, we want to look at other things. What are those incentives? Can we keep some of your cash in pocket so that you have room to do some improvements on the property later, make it a little more custom, add a deck out back, extend the driveway, things like that? Or would you rather put extra money in if they're going to give you an incentive for closing costs, put a little extra money in to reduce your loan amount? We can help talk you through all of that. So if you are a first-time buyer wanting new construction, or a move-up buyer that wants to leave an older home and get into something with a little less upcoming maintenance on it, or if you're prioritizing more predictable systems over charm of an older property, Marshburn Landing might be a place for you. You have to be comfortable with that suburban layout. You're not going to be walkable to everything. Depending on time of day, it might take you a little bit to get to a grocery store. But still, that little bit is 10 to 15 minutes. So if you're evaluating Marshburn Landing versus other neighborhoods, give me a call. Let's set up a consultation. We can compare what your needs are, your risk tolerance, your commute times, what your long-term goals are, and help you decide which neighborhood might be the better option for you to meet your lifestyle today, but also to give you the potential for the future to meet those future goals. Talk to you soon.